Hello everybody and welcome back. Now we have Grovely Wood on the Salisbury Plain, a Woodwoose, a Bigfoot or a Chimera. Multiple accounts, 1877 to 2013. Now I was lucky enough last month to receive a comment from George Price's daughter, and we had a chat, and I instantly wanted not only to pass on my thanks to her and her father, but also to share her father's account here. For a serving soldier to make a statement that he saw a wild, hairy, human-type creature whilst on exercise is not something we come across very often. It must have made a great deal of impact on Mr. Price, and I for one am very grateful he came forward and went on the record. It has made it easier for a number of other witnesses from the armed forces to come forward with their accounts also. Salisbury Plain is an old and ancient site set in the Downs, chalk-based and almost flat. The area is not very well forested, but it does have a small pocket of woods, and the River Avon runs close by, and also the River Wyle. In September 2002, George had his account, and he says, "We were on exercises on Salisbury Plain, and I was the commander in the turret of our tank, and I was scanning the landscape when I turned to my 5 o'clock and looked right at a large, hairy ape-like figure. And it looked scared because of the noise from the engines, and the tanks were moving at speed and all around. I couldn't believe my eyes, so I punched my gunner to look at it because he couldn't hear me over the engine. We both saw it run into nearby prickly shrubs. Its fur was silver to an orangutan in colour, and in length and flow of it. The face looked black or darkish, but I couldn't see its facial features, being on too high of an angle above it. It was more its gait, the way it moved. It was very fast and seemed to run with large strides. Its height was impressive too. It must have been around 6 foot plus, but it seemed to run with its back low, i.e. bent over. It was an amazing sight to see it disappear into the shrubs. I kept staring at the spot as my tank was moving away, but it never emerged again, as if there was a hole below the bush it dived into. I observed the area at distance for a while via the tank's optics, but nothing else was seen. It must have been terrified to move, with half the British Army tearing Salisbury Plain up. I told my superiors as soon as we stopped, but the incident was laughed off, so I never mentioned it much after that. I did ask my gunner about it, and he said he had seen it, but not well enough to describe it. It has bothered me to this day, and I wish I'd stopped to see it now. And it was right next to me. It was very strange. And then in Grovely Woods in 2013, we have a witness, Keisha, who came forward. And she said, recently I was out riding in Grovely Woods, Salisbury Plain, with my mum. And it was just after getting dark, so I would say around dusk. I was on the horse and my mum was walking alongside me. About 50 metres ahead of us, there was a very tall, large, dark figure. I thought it was too big to be a person, around perhaps 2.5 metres tall, although we were relatively far away. But like I said, he was around 50 metres away, perhaps a bit less, so I'm not entirely sure. But he looked much bigger than a human male. And when this creature, it's the only thing I can call it, moved, it was in a non-human way. It moved with speed that was incredibly inhuman-like, and it moved with a sort of loping stride. When we were at the spot where I'd seen it run off, I noticed that there was no way a human could have escaped that fast, especially through the trees and shrubs. They were dense, since it was quite thick in there, and brambles. Unfortunately, I did not have time to investigate any further, since my mum was a little freaked out and wanted to get away. She told me earlier on the way in that she'd found half a deer when she was out a few days ago, and she said it had been ripped to shreds, although thankfully it was gone when we were at that part of the woods. From what I saw, I would think I saw a Bigfoot creature. But would a Bigfoot go for something like a deer? The strange thing is, my horse didn't spook, since he's generally quite a nervous animal. Could this still have been a Bigfoot if my horse didn't react? And sadly, I am unable to help Keisha, as I don't know of any other account on the database where the witness was on horseback. Perhaps you do. And then we have the strange case of the Salisbury Chimera. This is 2005. And this report comes from the Paranormal Database again. And it says, this is a strange one. An odd Chimera-type beast was seen many times during 2005 in Salisbury. It was described in many different ways, and no one witness seemed to agree. It was described as being cat-like, raccoon-like, and also kangaroo-like. But what piqued the interest of our team was the description of a couple of the witnesses said it had the gait of a monkey. And another description said it was 2 feet tall and had a sloping back. So what we're seeing? I don't know. There are many historic references to the Wildman near Salisbury. According to the Paranormal Database, a wild man who lived in the woods in this area was shot at when he attacked and tried to kidnap a local farmer's wife in 1877. The creature escaped into the dense woodland and was never seen again. And Twilight Paranormal, a paranormal group that visit Salisbury quite often, and they go on many occasions. They've had some very ghostly experiences. Deep-throated coughs, dark figures, stones thrown, a feeling of being watched, being shadowed by something unseen, whistles and heavy thudding and footsteps. Um, and you can see their blog. It's at twilightparanormal.co.uk. So pop along there or to the Paranormal Database and have a look for yourself. Pop your area in and see what pops up. That's how we find things that we think may be accounts. And if we can, we will try and get in touch with the witness. And as I say, I've actually spoken to George's daughter. So, and I hope she's listening. And I can say thank you, not in person, as you know, but thank you very much. Hearing from you was wonderful because we read about witnesses that if we don't know them, we don't know anything about them, and it's nice that when you can speak to a relative of theirs and just say thank you, that your dad shared his account. So until next time, I will be back with some more accounts for you. Good night.